Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Seek and Find podcast. We are going to continue our summer series today, and today we're taking a little break from a deep dive into faith and focusing on our next fun episode, and this episode is about my favorite sitcoms. I'm going to pick one from each decade, starting all the way back to the 60s and through the 2010s, so stick around. But a quick note before we get started, just a reminder, as always, as Catholics, it's fine to enjoy shows, have some fun with pop culture, and be entertained, but we always want to be mindful what we're watching and how it lines up with our faith. So as we talk about these sitcoms, just remember, it's about balance, keeping your eyes on Christ, not letting the entertainment pull you away from what matters the most. I love sitcoms because I personally find that there's certain characters that I can connect with. It doesn't mean that I align with everything every single character does or show does. A lot of times it's all in good fun, it's a good laugh, but it's just like us, right? We're not perfect people, and nobody in these sitcoms are perfect people either, and that's what makes them relatable. So I know people have strong opinions about the sitcoms they watch. These are just the ones that I've watched that are my favorites. Debate me in the comments. Now, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's start all the way back in the 1960s, where we have options of sitcoms like Gilligan's Island, Beverly Hillbillies. At least those are the two that jumped out to me at first, but to me, this is an easy pick without a doubt. It's got to be the Andy Griffith Show. The Andy Griffith Show is just a classic. You've got Small Town Mayberry, Sheriff Andy, Opie, Aunt Bee, and of course, Barney Fife. It's one of those shows that just feels like comfort food, and you can just sit down, relax, and no matter what, it'll leave you smiling. Barney might be one of the funniest TV characters of all time, period. This show reminds me of sitting on the couch watching the show with my dad. I just simply love it. Moving on to the 1970s. More competition here. You got the Brady Bunch, All in the Family, Happy Days, Three's Company, a local favorite, WKRP in Cincinnati. But to me, this is hands down probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite sitcoms of all time, period, and it is MASH. So the 70s had some great options, but MASH stands out. It managed to blend comedy with real emotion. You had some deep, meaningful moments. You've got character swaps that worked better than any other show I can remember. One of my all-time favorite characters in Hawkeye. You've got Radar, Klinger, Major Houlihan, Frank, Trapper, BJ, Winchester, and how can we forget Father Mulcahy, a great priestly character in the show. Just all the things about it are amazing. Even though it was set during the Korean War, its messages are still timeless. There's good fun mixed with seriousness. And how about that series finale? One of the most watched TV events ever. So, legendary pick. Let's move on to the 80s, where you had a couple of shows like Family Ties, The Golden Girls. One of the shows I watched a lot growing up was The Cosby Show, although, with all that's happened with Bill Cosby, that's kind of tarnished the legacy of the show. That was a good show nonetheless. But still, my all-time 80s pick is going to be Cheers. Cheers is simply one of the best sitcoms ever. The cast had great chemistry. There was great one-liners. The setting, you just felt like you were there, a part of things. And of course, we have this show recently in the news because the actor who played Norm passed away. Every time he walked into the bar, you had Norm chants everywhere. I mean, who doesn't love that? And still, to this day, it's one of the most iconic theme songs to a TV show ever, where everybody knows your name. Now, let's move on to the 90s. The 90s is easily the most difficult one for me to pick because there are so many great 90s shows. Home Improvement, Saved by the Bell, Step by Step, Frasier, Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, Full House, Friends, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I know some of those moved into the 2000s as well, but all of those I remember watching in the 90s. The top 2 are Friends and number 1, in my opinion, Seinfeld. Now, look, Seinfeld, These aren't characters that you're following to try to get to know Christ. It's just a purely entertaining show. Obviously borderline inappropriate at a lot of times, every episode. But then it's just a show about nothing that somehow is about everything. Every single day, something reminds me of a Seinfeld episode. The writing, the characters, the quotable moments, especially Kramer's physical comedy, it just makes me laugh. And you have iconic things like Festivus, the puffy shirts, the soup Nazi. I mean, just things that are absolute gold. How can I not go with Seinfeld? And that brings us into the new millennia, the 2000s. So this was a little harder because you didn't always have just something from 2000 to 2010 to pick from, but I settled in on The Office. I shouldn't say settled in. The Office is one of my all-time favorite shows. You had Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, Jim and Pam, the awkward humor mixed with so much heart. It's a masterpiece. And let's be honest, you either quote The Office daily or you know somebody who does. All right, moving on to the 2010s. Now, I didn't watch as many shows as we got into the 2010s, but a couple that stood out to me were New Girl, Parks and Rec. I loved Parks and Rec. It was just kind of a continuation of the same type of comedy as The Office. But my 2010s pick is going to be The Big Bang Theory. Now, this is a mixed reaction from people usually when I say how much I love this show. It's nerdy humor. You have great friendships. The way the characters grew over the years, it just worked. Sheldon Cooper is one of the most unique characters TV has ever seen, and somehow he made quantum physics funny. Come on, how can you not love The Big Bang Theory? So there you have it, my personal sitcom picks by decade. Now it's time to hear from you. What are your picks? Did I get it right? Did I completely miss stuff? Shoot me a message or drop a comment. Thanks for tuning in to the Seek and Find Summer Series. We'll be back soon with more faith, fun, and hopefully something that's going to bring a smile to your face. Hopefully something that's going to keep you seeking and keep you finding. Until next time, God bless.